Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some great packing tips for your September Alaska cruise. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Melissa Diane, and we always say that life's a journey, and let me tell you, this Alaska cruise was probably one of the best journeys of my entire life. And I hope that the tips I share with you will help make your Alaska trip just as exciting. I'm going to share with you everything I packed in these two great big suitcases, all of the items that I used, the items that I didn't need at all, and then some items that I wish I had taken. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with vests and jackets, and I'm going to tell you what worked well and kind of the excursions that we went on, so that might give you also a better idea of what to pack. So for vests, you need a vest, and this one is a puffer vest. This one I got from ORVIS. Y'all, this was fantastic. I was able to wear this underneath some bigger jackets when it was cold, and then I was also able to wear it by itself with the long sleeve shirt. Now let me tell you, this weather was not near as cold as I thought it would be. We were pretty much in the 50s a whole lot of the times, or the low 50s, and then some of the days it got up into the 60s and about mid 60s, but in the morning it was chilly. So you definitely need a vest. That was a good thing. For raincoats, I want to show you two different jackets that I took and how I used them. So first of all, a raincoat. Yes, you need a raincoat because it really is the rainy season in Alaska when we went in September. Now, we had an unusually sunny cruise, and I was told that that doesn't happen most of the time, where every day is basically sunny. But we did have one day in Ketchikan where it was sprinkling a lot of the day, just really, really misty, had really low cloud cover. So a rain jacket like this that is long, I'm 5'1", and this goes down to about my knees. But you do need a rain jacket with a hood. This is a lightweight one. It was great. And I got this off Amazon, so I'll put a link for this one in the description for you. Now, this jacket, I love this jacket, and I was able to wear this some. This is a jacket that you could wear if it's raining. This one, it has a wax coat on it, and I put a new wax coat on it myself before I went on the trip. This jacket is from ORVIS. And it's great. It has a little hood, but what's nice is if you can have a jacket that's kind of weather-proof or waterproof, but it's kind of thick on the inside, then that keeps you warm. So those are a couple of good ideas for jackets. Now, running around the ship, I had a couple of other items. First of all, this little jacket. This is just a fun little lightweight hoodie. And this was wonderful for just throwing on with some light leggings, just to run around the ship some, just to be comfy. So I am glad I took this one. Now, this one I took and I did not need. So this was overkill, didn't need this many jackets. I took another lightweight one. This is, I think, from Gap, or this is Old Navy. And I took this one, and I never ever wore this one at all. And then the only other thing, like kind of in a jacket type, is I took this. Now y'all, I actually got this in my suitcase, but this is super big and puffy. Look at this thing. Look at this. It is huge, but it's soft. It's from a brand called Comfort. My daughter got me hooked on this. It's nice and big. And again, I wore this just running around the ship. I wore this almost all day when, I'm trying to think, that was the day we were in Glacier Bay. And so we were out on our balcony most of the day watching all the glaciers as we went by. And as the ship will stop, and turn for like an hour so everyone can see it. And I wore this on the balcony, and I also wore it running around up on the ship watching the glaciers. So it is big, and it is a little bit cumbersome to pack, but I'm really glad that I took it. I took a couple of neck warmers, and I really only needed one. I wasn't sure. I took two, but two's not needed. One will work fine. These are great for when you're really bundled up, when you're outside on the ship watching the glacier, or actually out walking around on it. But one neck warmer will work fine. Then as far as gloves, I took two different kinds. I took some gloves that were really thick, really thick and kind of waterproof. And then I also took just some really lightweight gloves. And y'all, all I ever used were these little lightweight ones. These big, thicker ones just were not needed. So lightweight gloves will work fine. Then for socks, I took quite a few, probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 pairs of little bitty socks to wear in my tennis shoes, running around, and that was perfect. But then I also took some long socks, some long wool socks, and these were good for all those couple of days where we did need to be bundled up a little bit more. I took 3 pair, but only 2 were actually needed. And then we thought we would have time to jump in the hot tub up on the top of the ship, but we just never had time or got around to it. So I took a bathing suit, and bathing suit was not used at all. And then going to Alaska, we just kept thinking it's going to probably be cold on some days, like really cold. And it just never was as cold as we thought. And we had taken some of these little hand warmers and to put in your gloves and some little toe warmers to put in your shoes. And we didn't need these at all. Now I will show you some little sweaters and other tops and things I took that worked really well. But before I get to that, because I'm showing you this as I unpack my suitcase, and I want to show you some items real quick that we actually purchased. My daughter and I purchased there in the different places. We went to Juneau, we went to Skagway, we went to Ketchikan, and I want to show you some little jackets and things that we got because I decided I'm going to tell all my friends, if you go, just take you like one sweatshirt, and then if you're someone who likes to buy souvenirs and get sweatshirts and things like that, just buy them when you get up there. And because these are some of the items that we found, so I thought I'd show you in case you decided you might want to do that. So for example, like this I think I got in Juneau, cute little sweatshirt, wonderful, I just love it. And it just says Alaska on it. And I think it says, oh, it says Inside Passage on there because that's our cruise ship went on the Inside Passage. Here's a couple of others that I picked up. And this one also says Alaska. It's a zip up hoodie. And y'all, these, I was so shocked. I wasn't planning on buying stuff really like this because I was afraid they'd be so expensive. But you could get them for like 2 for $40 or something like that. I think the most expensive one I got was like $35, but they were really good prices. And here's another one, another long sleeve zip up one. I thought this one was just as cute as could be. I like the zip up ones, but this one's not a zip up, but this one was $24.99. And this one I think I got in Ketchikan. And I just thought this would be so pretty, like with black leggings, really nice, a nice color. And then another one that I got in Ketchikan, which was our last stop, was this little one. I wore this one back on the airplane, and this one was just a plaid one, and it also zips up. So all of these I brought back with me, and I'm just suggesting to people is, hey, if you like to buy things like I do on the trip, then just take one in your suitcase and then have room and pack up, and you can wear them when you're up there. And I saw a lot of people actually doing that. Here are a few items that I took that I just did not use at all. I took some of these little long sweatery, they're very thin, or not super thin, but they're thin, little tops. And I thought that I would wear these like with leggings and maybe around the ship or to dinner, because I was expecting to change clothes more times a day than we did. But these 3 items just weren't needed. And then I had another shirt like this that I took that's kind of similar, but it's a little bit shorter. And I wore this just one evening, just kind of running around, but it really wasn't needed. So for dinner, let me show you what we wore to dinner. There were 2 nights that they had designated as formal nights. And in the past, when I've been on cruises for formal nights, I'll get all super dressied up, like little after 5 dresses and etc. But on this one, the cruise was just a lot more casual. I found out the Alaska cruise is just people usually don't get up dressed as fancy. I think because they've been out doing excursions a lot during the day. There were a few people that got super dressy, but the majority of the people just wore some nice dresses. And so what I did was I had 2 dresses that I took. Here's one. Let me see. where the top of it is. Here we go. And it was just a nice little kind of a short sleeve sweater dress. This worked really, really well, and I'll show you shoes that I wore with this in just a bit. But this one I wore either once or twice. And then this one I wore for one of the formal nights, but also just a regular dinner night to one of the specialty restaurants. You want to get dressed up a little bit. And again, it's just another little sweatery dress. It's short sleeve, and it worked out really, really, really well. Now, the other things I wore to dinner, one night I did wear this little jacket. Let me see if I can open this up a little bit. It's just a nice little jacket, and I wore it with some really nice jeans and cute shoes. And so this worked really well one night for dinner. And then y'all, for the other nights for dinner, I'll show you in a minute some of the casual clothes. I just wore some casual tops and everything and just dressed them up a little bit. So those were the main items that I wore to dinner. Here are a couple of items that I took that I wore a couple of times and were great. Fun little tops like this. You could throw them on with your jeans. I wore these most of the time with some little leggings. I got these off Amazon. Very inexpensive. I got it in 2 different colors. And y'all, these little shirts were just awesome. And so I'll put a link for these in the description for you. Also took a fun little shirt. This was kind of fun to just in the evenings after dinner. It says on the back, it says right here, it says Cruising Queen on the back. It's a shirt I've had for a long time. I got it on I think a celebrity cruise or something years ago. My daughter has one too. And this was fun just to throw on and then just run downstairs and get ice cream in and just kind of sit around and watch all the activities. So that was a fun shirt. I'm glad I took it. Some other shirts that I'm really glad I took. I love, y'all, these little long sleeve tops. I'll put a link for these also. But y'all, I just get these off Amazon and they're so fun. They're not very thick, but I wore these. I took a black one and then a purple one. Let me see. I took too many, but I'll tell you what I took. You only need about 3. And I took a purple one. These are great to wear under that little vest I showed you a while ago. Let me see. You take this little vest and you put those long sleeve shirts under there. They're just perfect for running around the ship, or you can put one of your jackets over them. And then let's see, the ones I wore, I took the purple and the black, and then I have this this one right here. Let's see, this one was like a purpley blue and it matched my vest. So really you just need 3 of them. And I actually took 6. I took a couple of blacks, I took a green, and I even took a different blue. But 3 of these lightweight little long sleeve shirts will do you, y'all, because really what I kept hearing, and it's true, in Alaska, it was just all about layering. So I would wear something like this, and then I'd put that little vest on, and then I could put a thicker jacket on, and as the day went off, you can just take off the layers that you don't need. A couple of other items I took that I was glad I took a couple of these are super soft and they're not silky, they're just really, really soft. Couple of little camisoles, and y'all, these were great for layering again. So I would definitely suggest, I took 2 of them and I wore them both, so I think that this was a good choice. And then I took this little thing. This is just like a little, I don't know if it's a moo-moo or what it's called, but it's a tube. And this is what was great for running around the cabin when you're just putting on your makeup and doing your hair. So that was nice to have in case we had some friends also going on the cruise, and that way if someone else came to your room, you had something on while you were getting all ready. And then, let's see, this is a fun little shirt that I took and I wore, and it doesn't look real Alaska cruisy, but we went to Seattle. So this is a pretty little flowered shirt. And we went to Seattle the day before and walked around and everything. And so this was the shirt that I decided to wear onto the ship and for running around that very first day. And I'm glad I took it. Now, let me move it over here. So here are 3 other items that I took that I did not need. Didn't even touch them, y'all. I took them out of the suitcase. I put them on the shelf in the closet, and that's where they stayed. And I had 3 of these. I had a green and a blue and a black one. They're the cutest ever, but I thought I would probably wear them running around on the ship or something, and nope, I didn't need them. Now for pants and jeans. So I took 3 pair of jeans. I actually wore 1 pair onto the ship, It's one pair that I wore around Seattle the day before, and then wore this, that little flower top, just some cute little jeans, and so I'm glad I had them. But I will tell you, I really think I only really needed to probably take 2 pairs of jeans. This was just a fun pair to have, so I'm glad I had them. I took another pair similar to that, but they were a lot thinner. Didn't wear these, didn't even touch them. And then I did take this pair, maybe I didn't need it, but I wore this to dinner. And so these were nice. They're darker jeans, and so they just looked really cute with that little jacket. And so I would say if you're wanting to wear jeans to dinner, it's nice to wear some little nicer ones. And so then you might want a nicer pair like this. But definitely only 2. You didn't need 3 pairs of jeans. For leggings, now I think what I did was for some thin leggings, I took 2 pairs of black. One was shiny black, 2 pairs of leggings that is like regular legging material, and only needed 1 of those. Did not need 2 because I had thrown in there last minute these little kind of wild, funny blue ones, and I actually ended up wearing these a couple of different days, running around in the afternoon with one of my little jackets. And y'all, I guess one advice I'll say is that a lot of times when I'm packing for trips, I find something last minute. I'm like, do I want it? Do I not? I think I will. I just try to go ahead and take it because very often those end up being the items that I end up falling in love with on the trip and wearing most of the time. And these little funny colored leggings was one of those. So I am glad that I threw them in there. But I didn't need as many of the black ones as I took. Now, here is something that for me was a lifesaver, and I'm so glad. My daughter found these on Amazon. And y'all, I took 4 pair, but I only needed 3 of them. These are, I'd never really seen these. These are fleece lined leggings, and they're not super thick fleece, but they are warm, and but they're not too warm. And so I wore these, I wore these with like a long sleeve shirt and then a vest and sometimes a jacket, and I would take off the layers throughout the day. But even on the ship, running around with a lightweight top, these were not too hot, and I just absolutely love them. And so I will put a link for these. We found them on Amazon. There's a ton you can pick from, but I'll leave you a link because I can attest and say that these were fantastic. And I took them in a black. I took a pair that was kind of a marble color, black and gray. And then I took 2 other pair, and I wore them both, but I didn't need them both. 3 pair will do you. And they come in teal, and they also come in burgundy. And y'all, these were just, I cannot say enough about how much I loved these fleece lined leggings on the trip. And then here is something that I did not end up wearing, but you might if you end up going on the September cruise and it rains more than it did on our cruise. So I am glad that I took them. These were some pants that are pretty much, they're water repellent. I think they call them almost waterproof. I mean, the water just slides off of these little guys. And we picked these up at ORVIS. We were out shopping one day. You can get all different kinds, I'm sure. Probably can even get some on Amazon. But these are great. I got them a little bit bigger than I normally would wear because you can put them over your leggings. So if you're going to be going into one of the ports and you're going to go on an excursion and you know it's going to be raining a lot and you're going to have your rain jacket on, you can take these, put them on over your leggings or whatever you're wearing, and then it keeps you a lot drier. Now for the shoes. Now this is where I always usually go overboard and take too many shoes, but I like to have choices. I did take a few too many, but I'm going to show you what I took that I am so glad that I took and I think are a must, and then I'll show you some items that I took that were okay, I wore them some, and then some that I actually didn't need. So first of all, for shoes, these little shoes right here, we went and we bought these were new, And these are called, they're by Sorel, S-O-R-E-L, and these were fantastic for water repellent. And y'all, we wore these shoes. My daughter got some also, and I will try to find a link for you for somewhere where you can find these. I got these at a store here locally, but Heather got hers off Amazon. And y'all, these were awesome because we wore them almost on every excursion. They were great for walking out. When we went on the glacier, they still gave us some stuff to put over our shoes, but they kept us nice and warm. They were great for hiking. They just were fantastic. And so I can't say enough about getting some shoes, something like this to wear when you're running around on your excursions. Then also you need some dinner shoes. So I took just one pair to wear with my dresses and nice jeans for dinner shoes. And then these are some shoes that I was not going to take. And I thought, no, I'm not going to try to stuff them in my suitcase. But y'all, I'm so glad I took them. I took my Uggs. I was so glad because these were fantastic for wearing with leggings and a little top, running around the ship. They were nice and they were soft. I was afraid they might look too like pajama-y or something, but they didn't. They were fantastic and they were so warm. And I actually wore these on the day when I was all bundled up when we were outside at Glacier Bay. So if you've got some Uggs and you're wondering if you should take them, yes, take them. I'm so glad that I did. Then I had some other little rain boots that I wore some when I was out and about. And these were really good. They just weren't, and these are also off Amazon, but they weren't the best for like long walking. But so I'm glad I took them. Could I have done without them? Yes, I could have done without them. Then, let's see, I took some flip-flops. Yes, on an Alaska cruise, I took flip-flops because I like to wear some little flippies running around in the room. So these were good, and they didn't take up much room in the suitcase. And then I took one other pair of little dressier flip-flops because I did wear these some after changing clothes after dinner with leggings and a nice top. I did wear these some running around the ship. So it was nice to have something so your feet could breathe a little bit. And then I had just had another pair of flip-flops that I didn't need those. These were some shoes that I took that I wore on the airplane going up there. And then the day we got onto the ship, I wore these with my jeans. I probably could have worn something else, but I am glad I took them because they were comfortable and I really enjoyed wearing these. I took some other little black boots, did not need them at all. Never wore them. I thought I might wear these at night to dinner, but again, just they were not needed. I almost forgot, you do need a good pair of tennis shoes. And y'all, these were wonderful. I wore these a lot. They were extremely comfortable. My feet never ever got tired. And so I will put a link for these also in the description for you. I did take some baseball hats to wear out on excursions and because the weather is just, you never know what's going to happen with the weather, and because I love baseball hats, and I took 4 of them. I probably could have done fine with just 3, but I just took some different colored ones to wear with the different things I had. Took a little blingy one, and let's see, pink one, and then just a neutral one. So if you wear baseball hats, then yes, take your hats with you. You're going to need them, but I probably could have done fine with probably just 2 or 3 hats instead of 4 of them. Now, I will have to show you really quick. I found some new ones. Let me reach over here. I found some new ones when I was up in Alaska, and I just have to show you. They're just as cute as can be. This one I don't have the sticker off of yet, but found one with a moose on it, and then found another pink one with a bear, and got one at Skagway. And then when I was in Ketchikan, as I was walking out of the store, I saw this one, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's such a pretty color. I don't have a blue that color in a hat, so I found one more. So got me a few more hats to add to the collection. And for a few other just incidentals, let me show you. I had this little bitty purse here, and this is What's nice about this, have a couple of these, and they're great for on cruises, where if you just want to put your phone in there and maybe a couple other things and run around, you don't have to worry about, taking a bigger purse running around the ship. So if you want something like this to take, I think that was a good idea. Now, I will tell you, those leggings that I showed you that were fleece lined, what's also nice about those, y'all, is it has a pocket on the side of both legs, and you can just put your phone in there if you want to. So I thought that was really cool. Also, y'all, you need some binoculars, and so I just got some inexpensive ones off of Amazon. Jay had some really, really nice ones, and I could have taken those, but I just didn't want to leave them laying around somewhere on the ship by accident, possibly. So I got these. Heather got some also. I think there's only about $65. I'll leave a link for these. I'll find that. But y'all, you have to have these. These are great for looking at any of the wildlife, the whales, the otters, the seals, especially the icebergs. If you go to Glacier Bay, you definitely need some really good binoculars. And then I did take a hairdryer. I knew they would have one in the room, but something told me to take a hairdryer, which I did. I probably should have taken my little travel size one, but there was a hairdryer in our room, but it was in a drawer, like the top drawer where there's a big mirror out sitting in the sitting area. We had a mini suite, so it was out in the little sitting area. There was a drawer you could pull out, and there was a dryer, but it was hooked inside. You couldn't disconnect it. And so you couldn't take it anywhere else in the room, and it just wasn't very powerful. So I am glad we took our hairdryer. Let's see, I took a fanny pack. Yes, I suggest this strongly. It's also good for when you run around the ship or on excursions or anything like that. So I definitely suggest a good fanny pack. And then these were 2 little backpacks. Got these also off Amazon. Super, super lightweight. And they have 2 big pouches on them. And what was nice about this was we did go on a long hike. And so you're able to put everything in here, your water, anything else that you need on here. But if you're going to be doing any hiking or long treks on your excursions, you definitely need something where your hands are free. And so I strongly suggest something like this, just a real simple, little, small backpack. If you have a question about anything that I didn't address, please leave that question in the comments. I hope this has really been helpful for you. And check out that next video that's popping up, and I'll see you over there in a few minutes. Bye-bye.